about road trips is you can go as fast or as slow as you want.
Ah yes, road trips, a favorite American pastime ever since the Mother Road was built. And who can resist its allure? With the endless amount of possibilities of where one can end up, no wonder it's a favorite pastime.
You can take whatever route you prefer, you can make as many stops as you want. There's no schedule pressure except your own.
All great points, except we forgot some of the most important rules of road tripping, which are... But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we get things rolling, this is Sightseeing Sally with her sidekick Mabel, and today we're road tripping it across one of Wisconsin's most scenic byways up in the North Woods.
Today's a perfect day for a road trip. It's not too hot, not too cold, sun's out. Oh yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna have a good time.
Okay, so I forgot the most important rule, so sue me. Mother Nature trumps all. No matter what, folks, remember, Mother Nature always dictates your course of action when out on a road trip.
Hey sightseers, looks like we're getting rained out. And I didn't bring an umbrella, so we're gonna head back and postpone the rest of our road trip until next time.
Just kidding!
This is all I got for you.
What I really mean to say is I got 10 minutes of video out of 4 hours of driving.
So, I apologize. I thought the weather was supposed to stay nice up until later this evening. Guess the weatherman was wrong once again.
That brings me to rule number 2. When in doubt, blame the weatherman.
I don't know about you, but whenever I head out on a road trip, I need to jam out to some of my favorite tunes. Preferably 70s and 80s rock.
And that brings me to rule number 3, folks. Always bring along some sort of music to play, because when you're up in the North Woods, you never know what kind of crazy stuff you're gonna get stuck listening to on the radio. This looks like a good spot to pull in. I wonder what's here. Well, it looks like what we've got is the Laona School Forest. It's actually the first school forest in the United States. And this was dedicated to being a school forest back in April of 1928 after the approximately 80 acres had been logged off and left. Since then, the forest has grown back up and is a living memorial to those who work towards reforestation efforts. Pretty cool, huh? Now that we got our Wisconsin history lesson out of the way, who wants to go see the second largest ball of twine on the face of the earth, which only happens to be 13 short hours away? Nobody? Well, how about we check out the world's largest soup kettle instead? Check this out. We've got the world's largest soup kettle here in Laona. And August 3rd is when they have the community soup. Wow! If I had to wager a bet as to the type of soup they normally cook up, my guess would be chicken booyah. However, based on today's adventure, I'm thinking it's more like pine cone chowder. Regardless of the type of soup they're cooking up, do you really think they're doing it in this large kettle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Besides being home to the world's largest soup kettle, it appears Laona is also home to the most patriotic rocks. Okay folks, Mabel's giving me the signal, it's time to move on. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're traveling along one of Wisconsin's most scenic byways in the North Woods. The Nicolet Wolf River Scenic Byway is a 145-mile route that traverses parts of the state's north-central counties of Forest, Langlade, Oneida, and Hiles. The leg we're road tripping on today picks up in Laona and runs along Highway 32 up through Hiles, Wisconsin. Here's something kind of unusual. Check out this really cool old bank. You don't see architecture like that too much anymore. This is one of those instances where you blink, you're probably gonna miss out on the rest of the little town of Argonne. Which brings me right into rule number 4, folks. Always stop when you have the opportunity. Cause when you're road tripping in the North Woods, you can go miles before you see civilization. Speaking of civilization, what do we got here? I don't think I've seen anything like this before. I'm out like virtually in the middle of nowhere, and look, there's a lending library. How cool is that? How cool indeed! And being a total book nerd that I am, of course we gotta be nosy. You got all kinds of different books in here. Quick spoiler alert, I think somebody was into reading a lot of romance novels. That is really terrific. Whoever came up with this idea, I really gotta hand it to them. We've got the darkest corner. This has got to be one of the best ways to pass along the joy of reading and to reuse old books. Edgeware. Amber Beach. See what I mean about the romance novels? I bet if I kept digging we might find something interesting to read. Too bad I didn't bring any books along so I could swap one out. Looks like I'm gonna have to create another rule. Let's face it, there are some things you just can't blame the weatherman for, so deal with it. A whole series of books here in this one. Looks like there's 4 books in one. Wow, that is really super cool. That's something you see every day. And I never would have gotten to see this if Mabel and I hadn't taken a little road trip today. As you can see, Mother Nature is definitely running the show. Being that we're on a scenic byway, I was hoping to show more scenery. However, as we just learned, sometimes you just gotta deal with it and go with the flow, which is what I'm doing now by stopping at this petroleum museum. It looks like a rather interesting place. I wonder if it's open. What a really cool looking place. I'll have to give them a call and see if we can schedule a time to come back and check it out. This really isn't surprising considering we are up in the North Woods of Wisconsin. Many businesses close during winter just for the sole fact that there aren't enough tourists to help keep them afloat. Things don't look too promising over there either. What do you say we hijack one of these school buses and take it for a tour around town? No? Mabel doesn't seem too fazed by the rain. I guess it does make good napping weather, doesn't it? Speaking of naps, the Oneida Village Inn would have been, at one time, the perfect place for a weary traveler to stop, check in, grab a bite to eat, and take a nap. Unfortunately, as you can see, this place has been devastated entirely by a fire that occurred in early March. Sometime around 10:30 p.m. on Monday, March 4th, the fire broke out in the motel portion of the building. Investigators do not know at this time the cause of the fire, only to say that everyone got out safely. It's a shame because the Oneida Village Inn recently celebrated 40 years, or at least the current owner celebrated 40 years of business. A quick internet search determined that she took over the business in 1978, which leads me to believe that it was open under different owners with a different name prior. Interestingly enough, the Three Lakes Diner, which is just down the street from here, was also destroyed in a fire about a month before this. Now, I'm not saying they're connected, I'm just pointing it out for all you conspiracy theorists.
Weather here in Wisconsin can be a bit fickle. Sometimes you just have to know when to call it.
Just like I said, folks, Mother Nature always runs the show.
Till next time, I'm Sightseeing Sally.